Religious nonprofit organizations operate at the intersection of faith, community development, and social advocacy. Their effectiveness depends not only on program delivery, but also on their ability to communicate mission, values, and impact to diverse audiences. Public relations and media engagement therefore become central functions that support visibility, credibility, and long-term trust within the communities they serve. Unlike secular organizations, religious nonprofits must balance professional communication practices with the authentic expression of faith-based identity. This creates a distinct communicative environment in which messaging must remain both strategically structured and ethically grounded. Public relations in this context is not limited to information dissemination, but extends to the construction of legitimacy and the reinforcement of institutional trust. Effective public relations begins with clearly defined objectives aligned with organizational mission. These objectives may include increasing awareness of programs, mobilizing volunteers, or strengthening donor engagement. At the same time, communication strategies must remain audience-centered. Understanding the expectations, values, and cultural contexts of different stakeholder groups allows organizations to tailor messages that resonate and sustain engagement over time. The selection of communication channels plays a critical role in expanding reach and maintaining relevance. Traditional media platforms such as local radio and print publications continue to hold influence in many communities, while digital platforms enable real-time interaction and broader dissemination. The integration of multiple channels allows organizations to balance stability with adaptability in their communication strategies. Structured planning enhances the effectiveness and consistency of public relations efforts. Coordinated communication calendars support the timely release of information and reduce reliance on reactive or ad hoc messaging. Professional press materials further contribute to clarity and credibility, providing journalists with accessible and accurate information. Well-prepared media resources strengthen the relationship between organizations and media actors, increasing the likelihood of accurate representation and sustained coverage. Long-term engagement with media professionals is essential for building institutional credibility. Trust-based relationships with journalists are developed through consistent communication, responsiveness, and reliability. Organizations that establish themselves as dependable sources of information are more likely to receive ongoing attention and positive representation. This relational dimension transforms media engagement from transactional interaction into a sustained partnership. Crisis communication represents a particularly critical dimension of public relations in religious nonprofits. Organizational reputation is closely linked not only to operational performance, but also to moral and ethical expectations. In this context, crises can have amplified consequences for trust and legitimacy. Effective response requires preparedness, clarity of roles, and rapid communication. Transparency becomes central, as organizations must acknowledge challenges, provide accurate information, and demonstrate accountability in their actions. At the same time, crisis communication must be embedded within a broader system of monitoring and evaluation. Continuous awareness of public perception allows organizations to identify emerging risks and respond proactively. Post-crisis reflection further strengthens institutional learning, enabling the refinement of communication strategies and the development of more resilient systems. Public relations in religious nonprofits should therefore be understood as a continuous and proactive process rather than a reactive function. It integrates professional communication practices with ethical commitments to honesty, transparency, and accountability. Even in resource-constrained environments, structured approaches to media engagement, relationship building, and crisis preparedness can significantly enhance organizational effectiveness. From an analytical perspective, Public relations in faith-based contexts reveals a complex interaction between institutional legitimacy, cultural sensitivity, and identity. It demonstrates that communication is not merely a technical activity, but a core component of organizational sustainability. From a practical perspective, it highlights the necessity of embedding communication strategies within broader organizational planning, rather than treating them as auxiliary functions. Public relations and media engagement thus emerge as fundamental mechanisms through which religious nonprofits sustain visibility, build trust, and navigate complex social environments. When effectively integrated into organizational systems, these practices reinforce mission delivery, strengthen community relationships, and support long-term impact.